In today's video, I'm going to look at what's going to happen to German poker players playing on GG Poker in 2021 after the German poker regulations. For the tournament players, it's actually fairly easy. Basically, the German regulators, they want a cut of 5.3% on revenue. If over the course of a year, your buy-ins will be 100,000 and your cashes will be exactly 100,000, so normally you would have had a break-even year. Over the span of this year, GG Poker will collect 5.3% on this 100K, so you will be down 5.3K on those 100,000. For the cash games, it's a little bit more complicated. I'm going to break it down for you in this video now. So the new rule is that whenever you get up from a cash game table, you're paying a 5.3% tax. So even the rakeback that gets cash dropped on the table is going to be double taxed for another 5.3%. And if you're, for example, playing for only 10 minutes, you're getting up and then you're sitting down and you're playing another 10 minutes, you're paying taxes twice. Now, maybe the question that you have if you're playing from Germany is whether you can still win on GG Poker after these regulatory changes. And basically what you can do, you can either listen to my advice or you can basically make a decision yourself based on the data that I'm going to show you now. Because I haven't been playing as much on GG Poker, I'm using the dataset from PokerStars. What I wanted to see with this dataset is how much of the $9,000 that was expected to make, so that was the EV, was being taxed if only the winning sessions with my own playing behavior was taxed by 5.3%. And that would be $2,352 in this dataset. The second thing that I wanted to see is how much money I would be getting up with from the tables and therefore were paying with this new rule on GG Poker. And here I have to make an estimate, right? And my estimate is going to be per session. And in this data set, I played 150 sessions roughly. I would be getting up with maybe $1,500 roughly. So in the end, I'm coming up with this number of $200,000 after the 150 sessions. That is the volume of the money when you get up from the table. And if you multiply it by that by 5.3%, which is the tax, that comes down to $10,000. So with this data set, instead of winning or expecting to win $9,000, in the end I only won 3.8K because I ran below EV in this data set, I would additionally have to pay $10,000 in tax and I would actually not win at the game with that current win rate. With that insane cut, based on the dataset that I've used, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to win playing these games, and I think you should look for an alternative. But if you still want to try, one of the advice that I have for you is that once you buy in, you have to play an insane marathon session, play for as long as possible, so that you're using these buy-ins, so that you don't end up buying in, leaving a table, paying tax, and then returning the next hour, buying in again and paying another tax. Now, there are two questions that are in the air regarding how GG Poker responded towards these regulatory events. And the first one is, are they taking a cut from these 5.3%? And here I'd have to speculate. I don't think so, because there will be logs, and unless they're dealing with a complete amateur, they're going to be having a hard time not showing the data properly, and those 5.3% tax are just going to directly go to the German regulators. The second question is, was it necessary for GG Poker to do it exactly this way, so that the players, once they get up, have to pay 5.3% tax on whatever they get up with? Or could they also gone the other way and just increase the rake for the German poker players, similarly to what PokerStars has done? Because I think that at least the rake on PokerStars, or the rake increase, will be smaller compared to the rake increase here with this tax on GG Poker. And here I can only speculate and say, I think that Stars might actually pay a little bit from their own pocket so that they can not increase the rake for as much, but still make some profit from the German poker players. And that GG Poker is entirely putting the tax on the players here. Like in so many other countries, such as in Switzerland 4 years ago, Germany has managed to mess up this whole gambling legislation. It's an incredibly greedy cut of 5.3% on the money that you are getting up with from the poker table. And what I think is the worst about this all is the hypocritical nature of this gambling law. They always, if you're watching the political debate, are saying that they want to protect the players with this legislation. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Because with this cut, okay, maybe it was a little bit GG Poker's fault, players are incentivized to play marathon sessions because the smaller sessions, and even a gambling addict will eventually realize it, are just not good for them. Because if you're playing shorter sessions, you pay a lot more taxes and it's not even close. So with these player incentives of playing insanely long sessions now on GG Poker, they're doing a disservice to people that would need protection because of their playing behavior. So it couldn't be any more hypocritical. And here is the interesting thing about how these regulators are using fear. They're painting that picture that all these gamblers on the internet are gambling their life savings away and that they need protection. And that's why the word regulation in their people's minds is so popular and will gain over a majority quite easily if you push it to the people to vote. My name is Andreas and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing and don't forget to smash like. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Take care.